All right, let's talk about pets. Now, there are 17 currently farmable in the game with more to come, but generally speaking, there are 5 that are considered best in slot for the vast majority of your heroes. I want to talk about those 5 in particular, and at the end, stick around for a few honorable mentions. So for your builder characters, it's really no mystery what the best pet to use is. It's going to be a giraffe on a treadmill. Now you want a giraffe on a treadmill because it's just going to come with a bunch of high rolled stats and defense stats in particular. I've never seen one roll without all 4 defense stats. This particular one is from beating the Wave 25 survival on a promenade run, but it's going to come from any survival map. If you beat Wave 25, you will be rewarded with a giraffe on a treadmill of any survival run, any survival game. So obviously the higher tiered maps are going to give you better ones, and the higher the difficulty, the better the pet. This one in particular was a Nightmare Hardcore survival run on Promenade, and it's pretty good. I mean, you can see my attack roll there that's not something I increased. It just rolled naturally at 297, just to give you an idea of how high these rolls can go without being touched. So it's going to give you across all 4 tower stats a huge boost. These numbers will increase once Massacre comes. I'm sure we'll get better ones then. In the meantime, it's going to be from Nightmare, so absolutely farm up a bunch of these Giraffe on a Treadmill pets. The best ones obviously going to be coming from Glitterhelm, the best map, Nightmare Hardcore Survival Mixed Mode, I would assume, since there is an item power on the Giraffe, and Mixed Mode ups that a little bit also. But farm up a bunch of Giraffe on a Treadmill pets for all of your builder characters. Now, a support character you'll definitely want to have is a Tower Boost Monk, and the best in slot easily on a Tower Boost Monk is going to be a Speedy Gemstone. Now, this Speedy Gemstone in particular, I got from a Nightmare run on the campaign. You beat the Summit map on campaign mode, and that will net you a Gemstone. There are 4 variants: Speedy, Powerful, Striking, and Sturdy. The best one being Speedy, that ups the defense rate on your towers. So you equip this pet, you stand near the towers, and it will buff them passively. Now, you want at a bare minimum 31 max upgrades from 1 if you're running Nightmare. You'll get way more max upgrades from running Massacre, but if you're up in Nightmare and that's where you're at, when you farm these up, at least 31 points. And when you level these up, what you want to do is you want to max out the locked stats. Now, there are 2 locked stats up here. One is going to correspond to the percentage buff of whatever it's upping. In this case, it's going to be defense rate because it is a Speedy Gemstone. And the other locked stat, that's going to be the number of towers that the Gemstone can boost. And you want that to be maxed out. You want it to be at least 31 points up here, because that point 30 to 31 is what's going to get you that 4th point on that. It's unlabeled, but it is the number of towers that the Gemstone can boost. So at least 31 points, gonna net you 4 boosted towers. The Speedy one, Speedy Gemstone, being the best in slot for your Tower Boost Monk. Again, that is from the Campaign Summit map. Arguably another use case for a Gemstone is maybe running a powerful Gemstone on your active builder character. Say you're building on an apprentice, and if the stats that you get from a giraffe aren't that much compared to your total stats, so if you're running around with 2,000 or 3,000 power and rate, and you don't really care as much for those points coming from a giraffe, a powerful Gemstone might be a better option for you. I've seen people run powerful Gemstones on their active builders when they're building with an apprentice. Just something to keep in mind. But at the very least, best in slot for a Tower Boost Monk gonna be a Speedy Gemstone. Funny enough, it's just those 2 pets, the Speedy Gemstone and the Giraffe on a Treadmill, that are going to do it as the best in slot for all of your builders and support characters. But what about DPS characters? Well, that's where things get interesting. Now, for a DPS Huntress, which is a character that everyone should have, easily the best in slot pet, going to be the Propeller Cat that you get from beating Wave 14 in Alchemical Labs. This pet gives you a straight up plus hero damage percentage boost. So the one I have right here, the best one I've been able to find so far, has a 115% boost after being leveled up all the way. What I would suggest is that you don't settle for one with less than 100%. Get at least 100% to start with, and then when you level it up, you'll be able to level up the hero damage. It's a locked stat every 3 levels, and then if you want the boost ability to apply, if you want the buff to apply to other heroes on the field, consider leveling this other locked stat up every 30 levels. It doesn't say it again, but this stat applies to however many other heroes on the field. You can give it to them also. So in this case, mine, I can apply it to 3 other people with this. But from Alchemical Labs Wave 14 Survival for your DPS Huntress, easily the best in slot. Now I'll just demonstrate what this does. It's effectively more than doubling my damage. So if I'm just attacking the dummy here, I'm getting about 7 million DPS, 6.8 million DPS. Now, if I put the cat pet on, my DPS shoots up to over 15 million, 14 million, so it's more than doubling my damage because that 115% increase means it's 115% more damage, so more than doubling the effective damage of your hero. Definitely, the Prop Cat is the best in slot for your DPS Huntress, or even if you're running a DPS Apprentice, anything that relies on weapon damage, gonna be best in slot for that hero. Now, what if you don't want the hero to do the damage? What if you want the pet to do the damage, say on a DPS Squire? Well, in that case, what you'll want to do is get yourself a dragon pet. Now, the dragon pet, this pet will come from Wave 14 of the Summit Survival. So beat Wave 14 on Survival on the Summit map, and you'll get yourself a dragon pet from the chest. Leveling the dragon pet up, you want to prioritize fire rate and projectile count. You want at least 3 projectiles and at least 0.4 for fire rate, and then the rest can all go into ranged damage. Now what he'll do then is he'll have a really fast attack speed, and he sprays out 3 projectiles, so it's very useful. Does a ton of damage. He holds down a lane really well. You can get up close and do all 3 blasts up on one target. He's good for killing bosses, and he's just overall a great DPS pet. Easily the best in slot for your DPS Squire. For an elemental DPS monk, things are a little different because you rely on your ability to boost your elemental damage, and the pet that can help you out the most with that is actually going to be the Genie pet that you get from Wave 14 Survival on Ramparts, complete Wave 14, and in the next chest you'll get a Genie pet. Now, what's interesting about the Genie pet is the other 4 pets that I just mentioned, you'll need to farm for a good one. The Genie, you don't really need a good one to get the most out of him. In fact, you just need to get one where you can upgrade him up to over 200 MP restored, and then you'll be just fine, because what the Genie pet is going to do is while you drain your ability, while your ability drains your mana, your Genie pet is going to heal up your mana for you. That's his job. That's what he does. So while you're running around doing things boosted on your DPS monk, your Genie pet is just going to refill your mana for you, and you'll be able to keep your boost ability up 100% of the time, your hero boost ability 100% of the time with a Genie pet, and really any Genie's going to do it. Mine only has 54 upgrades, so that's not much. He'll be from Ramparts Wave 14, and the Genie pet will be best in slot for your elemental DPS monk. And that'll do it. That's the top 5 pets. Now a quick rundown. Giraffe on a Treadmill for your builders. Maybe for a primary builder or definitely a boost monk, you'll want a Gemstone, probably Speedy or Powerful. For your DPS Huntress, the Propeller Cat. DPS Squire, going to be a Dragon. And for your DPS, Elemental DPS monk, you'll definitely want a Genie. Now some honorable mentions. So Mista Mine is going to be the best in slot before you get a good Giraffe on a Treadmill for your builders. Now, if you can't get a good Giraffe on a Treadmill, Mista Mine, he comes from the Ancient Mines, Wave 14. He's a great pet to farm when you're transitioning from Insane to Nightmare. Early on in Nightmare, farm up a bunch of these Mista Mine pets. They're going to give you so many stat points. I mean, this one here has got some pretty high rolls on those tower stats. I've only ever seen them come out with 3 tower stats, sometimes 2 if you're unlucky. I've never seen them with all 4. Maybe they can get all 4. I don't know. But these rolls are big. These are big numbers for at that point in the game. So early on, especially in Nightmare, before you can get yourself a Nightmare caliber Giraffe on a Treadmill, definitely you're going to want to farm up some Mista Mine pets from Wave 14 on the Ancient Mines. The biggest downside is that he gives you a debuff and that your run speed is way slowed down. So obviously that's going to be a bit of a hindrance, but on any character with a boost ability, so the Monk, Squire, and Huntress, they can just pop that ability and they'll be able to run fast again. Now your apprentice is going to be held down pretty hard by this pet, but you'll obviously want one, so what you can do is just replace it as soon as you can, and before that run around with a different hero. That's all you can really do. But he's definitely a good stand-in for a Giraffe on a Treadmill, the Mista Mine pet, before you can get yourself a good Giraffe on a Treadmill. Now, if you're having trouble getting a dragon pet, and I did for the longest time, I wasn't able to get to Wave 14, let alone beat it on the Summit Survival, what I did instead for a while is I ran with a Steam Robot. Now, the Steam Robot's going to come from the Lava Mine Survival Wave 14. That is much easier to run than the Summit, much easier to get. That's only the third map, the Lava Mines, so get yourself a good Steam Robot. I've got one here with 80 upgrades, and he did just fine running through Massacre. I was actually able to kill the Demon Lord with the Steam Robot in Massacre to get my first triple threat, which was awesome. So he's definitely a great stand-in for a dragon if you're having trouble getting him. He does an area of effect melee attack, kind of similar to the dragon. He'll hit multiple targets, he'll hold out a lane for you just fine. He's just a little harder to use and target enemies with because he doesn't have a ranged attack, so you got to kind of get in and control where he goes and stuff. But he's definitely a great stand-in at first if you're having trouble getting a dragon pet. One more option as a stand-in for a dragon if you're having trouble getting one is maybe the Monkey King, who comes from the Endless Spires Wave 14. That's harder to get than the Steam Robot, but the Monkey King is going to be the best single target DPS pet you can get. Anytime anything is the best at something, it's worth getting a good one, so I would consider getting a good Monkey King. You can maybe use him as a boss killer too, especially in multiplayer. Who knows, he might become a part of a meta at some point, or might be good for a specific challenge. He's definitely worth getting a good one, just in case, but he's a suitable stand-in for a DPS pet if you have trouble getting a dragon. Just another option to consider would be the Monkey King pet. Again, he's going to come from Endless Spires Wave 14, considerably harder than Lava Mines, but just another option instead of the Steam Robot. And that'll do it for this video. Our honorable mentions being the Mista Mine pet as a stand-in for the Giraffe on a Treadmill, and the Steam Robot and Monkey King pets as a possible stand-in for the dragon on your DPS Squire. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you have any other suggestions, maybe you think other pets are more useful, let me know in the comments. Let's create a discussion and help some of the new players out if they're having trouble. And if you like my videos, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. That's all I have for you today. Thanks so much for watching.